They're cutting billions of dollars of research funding. That is a fact. They're withholding that from universities.
Well, what are we researching?
Medical devices, aerospace technology, things that have continued
So
the American
we're talking
economy.
about Harvard. Harvard has over $50 billion in endowments. And if you want federal money on top of that, our hard-earned taxpayer dollars, I think that you have to follow what the federal rules are. And Harvard has refused to take action as far as anti-Semitism. So I don't know. If you don't want federal dollars, then you don't have to follow what the government says. But if you want our tax dollars, I think it's pretty fair to say, well, yeah, you do have to follow what the federal government is outlining. Trump and Doge aren't just going in and cutting research funding. This issue with Harvard is separate from just we're going to cut all of the research.
But that research is independent from the university's aims and political affiliations. That is a whole nother conversation. But why should medical research, for example, be cut because of a perceived political affiliation that a university administration has?
My answer to this is that in the case of Harvard, I think that if Harvard wants taxpayer dollars on top of over $50 billion in endowments, then Harvard needs to follow what the federal government says. It's nothing unreasonable.
The difference between the funding, research funding, and the perceived political affiliations of the university are two separate things. Why does important research?
But you're acting like Trump is going in and cutting research funding. That's not what he's doing.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I think it's a difficult conversation to have without being specific, because you're just making it sound like, oh, important medical research is being cut, but we've actually seen many of the line items that have been being cut, and none of these things, I'm not saying none, but the vast majority don't seem very crucial, dire things that are being cut. I mean, if we're cutting, transgender programs or pride programs overseas, like, this is not important medical funding. And to her point, if you're so concerned about it, why are you digging in your heels and saying, unless you allow biological males to participate in women's sports, that you're going to side with that rather than getting your federal funding? I mean, is the funding important or not? A lot of these schools have been fighting the Trump administration when the Trump administration has said, we're going to cut your funding unless you stop allowing biological males in women's sports. And they're like, no, we're going to keep allowing the biological males. They don't seem to care that much about these important medical programs that you're so concerned about.
Because they believe that the important research that has benefited the American economy is not associated with these political and ideological beliefs.
Well, you would think that
Why
that would
does
not be
Trump think
the hill that you would want to die on if these programs were so important.